The book of Genesis is the first book of the Bible and serves as the foundation for the entire biblical narrative. It covers the creation of the world, the early history of humanity, and the origins of the nation of Israel. The story of Abraham, originally named Abram, is one of the most important narratives in the Bible, found primarily in the book of Genesis, chapters 11 through 25. Abraham is considered the father of the Hebrew people and a key figure in the three major monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. His story is marked by a series of promises made by God and tests of faith. Abram was born in Ur of the Chaldeans, an ancient city in Mesopotamia. His father was Terah, and he had two brothers, Nahor and Haran. Abram married Sarai, who was later renamed Sarah, but they had no children because Sarah was barren. The family later moved to Haran, a city located in what is now Turkey. In Genesis 12, God called Abram to leave his country, his people, and his father's household to go to a land that he would show him. God made a covenant with Abram, promising to make him into a great nation, to bless him, and to make his name great. God also promised that all peoples on earth would be blessed through Abram. Abram obeyed God's call, and at the age of 75, left Haran with his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all their possessions. They traveled to the land of Canaan, where God appeared to Abram and promised to give that land to his descendants. A famine struck Canaan, forcing Abram to go to Egypt to survive. Abram and Lot eventually returned to Canaan, where their herdsmen began to quarrel over grazing land. To avoid conflict, Abram suggested they separate. Lot chose the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley, settling near the city of Sodom, while Abram remained in Canaan. After Lot left, God reiterated his promise to Abram, telling him that his descendants would be as numerous as the dust of the earth. In Genesis 15, God made a formal covenant with Abram known as the Covenant of the Pieces. God promised Abram that his descendants would inherit the land from the river of Egypt to the Euphrates River. To seal the covenant, Abram sacrificed a heifer, a goat, a ram, a dove, and a pigeon, cutting them in half. As Abram fell into a deep sleep, God foretold that his descendants would be enslaved in a foreign land for 400 years, but would eventually be freed and return to Canaan. Sarai, still childless, suggested that Abram have a child with her maidservant Hagar. Abram agreed, and Hagar conceived a son named Ishmael. However, tension arose between Sarai and Hagar, leading to Hagar fleeing into the desert. An angel of the Lord appeared to Hagar, telling her to return to Sarai and promising that her descendants through Ishmael would be too numerous to count. When Abram was 99 years old, God appeared to him again and reaffirmed his covenant, changing Abram's name to Abraham, meaning father of many nations, and Sarai's name to Sarah, meaning princess. God promised that Sarah would bear a son, and through him God's covenant would be established. As a sign of this covenant, God commanded Abraham and all the males in his household to be circumcised. 3 visitors, who were messengers of God, came to Abraham's tent. They announced that Sarah would give birth to a son within a year. Sarah, overhearing this, laughed because she was well past childbearing age, but the visitors reassured her that nothing was too hard for God. The promised son was to be named Isaac, meaning laughter. As God had promised, Sarah gave birth to Isaac when Abraham was 100 years old. Isaac was the child through whom God's covenant would continue. When Isaac was weaned, Sarah saw Ishmael mocking Isaac, and she demanded that Abraham send Hagar and Ishmael away. Though distressed, Abraham complied after God reassured him that Ishmael would also become a great nation. One of the most dramatic tests of Abraham's faith occurred when God commanded him to sacrifice Isaac, the son of promise, on Mount Moriah. Abraham obediently prepared to sacrifice Isaac, but as he raised the knife, an angel of the Lord stopped him. God provided a ram caught in a thicket as a substitute sacrifice. This event, known as the Akedah, or the binding of Isaac, is seen as a profound act of faith and obedience on Abraham's part. Abraham lived to be 175 years old. He was buried by Isaac and Ishmael in the cave of Machpelah next to Sarah. Abraham is revered as the patriarch of the Israelites, and his faith in God is highlighted throughout the Bible. The covenant God made with Abraham is foundational to the Jewish and Christian traditions. He is often called the father of faith because of his unwavering trust in God, even when faced with immense trials. Through Abraham's descendants, particularly Isaac and Jacob, the nation of Israel was established, fulfilling God's promise to make Abraham the father of many nations.